So today we're diving into Grand Ages Medieval, a large-scale strategy game that tries to blend city building, trade, and real-time empire management. It's one big ambitious package, but does it actually pull it off, or does it just get lost in its own complexity? Let's get into it. So Grand Ages Medieval is set during the High Middle Ages, and instead of focusing purely on war, like many other strategy games in this genre, it leans heavily into economics and expansion. You'll start with a small settlement and gradually grow it into a sprawling trade empire, managing resources, establishing trade routes, and keeping your population happy. The core gameplay revolves around building production chains, which sounds quite boring on the surface, but hear me out. You'll need to produce goods like grain, wool, and tools, and then transport them between cities using caravans. Your caravans can only carry a certain amount of goods, so you have to decide what goods go where and how you move it around the map. Now, it sounds simple at first, but it quickly becomes a balancing act as supply and demand and pricing and logistics all play a role. What makes this game interesting is the scale. The map is pretty big and it covers all of Europe, and you can zoom in and out seamlessly and either get views of your city or right out to the continent perspective. It really gives you that empire builder feeling. Also, the heavy emphasis on trade networks rather than battles to assert your dominance gives it a slightly different feel to other strategy games, and I actually quite like this part of it. And it really does reward you for investing time and money into creating better routes for your caravans. However, the game can feel a bit slow, especially early on. Progress takes time, and if you're used to fast-paced strategy games, this one might test your patience, and I would probably avoid it, to be honest. There is combat, but it's not the main focus at all. Armies exist mostly to protect your trade routes, or potentially to pressure rivals. Battles are fairly basic compared to other strategy titles, so if you're here for a deep tactical warfare, you might be disappointed because there's no real tactics required. It's basically the person with the most numbers comes out on top generally. Diplomacy is also straightforward. Alliance, trade agreements, and the occasional rivalry do pop up, but nothing too complex, and to be honest, there's pretty generally nothing that can't be fixed when there's enough gold on the table. Visually, the game does a solid job. The landscapes are detailed, and watching your settlement grow over time is genuinely satisfying. The UI, however, can feel a little bit clunky and overwhelming at first, especially for new players. The scale, the economic depth, and the sense of progression are all strong points, and the satisfaction of getting a particularly difficult trade route set up just right for what you need is genuinely worth the payoff. On the downside though, the pacing is slow, the combat is shallow, and the clunky interface does hold it back. Overall, Grand Ages Medieval is a niche but rewarding experience. If you enjoy deep economic strategy and don't mind taking things slow, it's worth checking out. But once you've played through it a couple of times, there's not an awful lot left to pull you back to keep you playing later down the line. For that reason, I'm going to give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.